Is it going to work this time? Is it going to function? Are you going to cause me issues, or are you going to do your job? I digitized the signal. I reticulated the splines. I did my job. No, I need you to do your job. I need you to handle your situation so that this all works, so that this all functions. That's all a guy wants. That's all a guy wants. All I want is for systems to be functional, for mimetic filters to be activated. Hello, Leah. Can you hear me this time? That is the question. Runes, good to see you. Is the microphone working better? That is it's the only question right now. Leah says yes. End guy, hello. Welcome to the stream. Lexi, Candy, thank you for confirmation of our success. How do we know you're not 053 or under the cognito hazard? Well, if the cognito hazard is a hangover, then yes, I am under a cognito hazard. The 420-J stream was very nice. The After Effects need a little downtime. But it's okay. It's okay. Office hours can go on as planned. And we can talk about all sorts of SCP issues that you're having and that I have the answer for. Forest Eyes, it's not the effects of 420-J that's the problem. It's that after you have that good, you're going to want to keep drinking anomalous fluid far beyond your capabilities that you would pay attention to if you were paying attention. That's the issue at hand. G-Man got it to work that we have End Guy. We have been talking about that particular anomaly for the last 2 streams. Please don't make me sicker. Please don't do that right now. In fact, don't talk with capital letters, all of you. It's too loud. Lowercase only for the time being. Jane Cook, you said hi in lowercase. You are the #1 appreciated. Anyways, I'm sure you all had very particularly excitable and useful mornings this morning and got lots of work done. Hello, Lily. And Jonathan, good to see you in the chat. I am here, and I am doing my job, and the sunglasses are the only thing keeping me alive right now. So, we're all here at work. Everything is fine. Nothing is ruined. Sylvia, if you want to see the actions, then you can see yesterday's 420-J and anomalous fluid stream, and you'll understand the consequences that are today. They wouldn't approve me for SCP-500. There's something about it being not allowed to be used in the case of hangovers, which I guess I understand. And I could have tried to use SCP-427, but they say that I've used it too often and that I'll turn into a tentacle monster of some kind. I don't know. I think they're just holding out on me, man. Why is the microphone off? Sound check. I'm checking the sound. It's on again. On or off, people? I'm giving myself a headache. Audio is back. We are sure. We're good. I had really cool news I wanted to tell you guys about. And if the audio doesn't come back, that won't work. Soul Hunter, thank you for being a member. And welcome to the stream. Du Bois, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Grab yourself some chicken tenders on your way past the commissary. What if you entered 2257 into a home improvement competition? I don't know much about 2257, but I will check it out and report to you. Toot sweet. The sweetest toots. That's how we're going to report right now. 2257 is the house god. Jeez, another deity. We have too many of these deities. It's a 1-bedroom, 2-bath house in a suburban development. The exterior has no anomalies. The interior is normally furnished for a home. After 48 hours, all objects and entities become an instance of 2257-1. First to anomalous items, mostly furniture or household appliances found within the building. Instances are sapient and capable of speech. So it sounds like a Beauty and the Beast situation. Does this sound like a Beauty and the Beast situation? That's what it sounds like. Instances do not physically change, but gain individualized personalities, voices, and consciousnesses separate from other instances, although interviews imply a telepathic communication between instances. They claim to be the sole deity of their respective physical representation. For example, the armchair is the god of chairs. The lamp is the god of lamps. Instances maintain a set order throughout 2257, often rearranging themselves when shifted to reattain their state of balance. For instance, the cutlery normally set in the dining room is rearranged. Instances will become agitated until they are able to return to the formal cutlery arrangement by fine dining standards in the United States of America. That's so petty. This anomaly is so petty. And we interviewed it, because that's what we do. We interview things. I mean, why would this help you in a home building competition? It just seems like talking furniture. A former D-class who became the Guardian. I mean, I feel like this is a useless anomaly that does nothing to benefit anyone. So if we entered it into a home improvement competition, I feel like they just yap at each other and annoy us. That's the closest I can see here. Sandra, you're actively being the worst person who exists, and no, you cannot fraternize with the SCPs. Coas, is my pen anomalous? You're just gonna have to wander. And by wander, I meant wonder. Agua. Agua for the people. Have you tried putting the tree that won't scream into a wood chipper lockjaw? If you chip the tree, it will disappear by being destroyed and we can't test it anymore. You got to think about this stuff, man. King of ADHD, good to see you and thank you for being a member. Sheeny, good to see you as well. Who's going to win, the Doctor versus an Abrams tank? I would obviously defeat an Abrams tank in one-on-one combat. There's no denial of that. Everyone would expect such a result. You don't have to worry about that. I'd be fine against an Abrams tank. It'd be done. Dustdale Alistair, no, you're hungover. You're the hungover one. So what I was going to tell you guys, before the microphone kept being not a microphone, is that I had this concept in mind. I have an idea. I have inspiration. I think it's finally time to bring the X is an SCP series back. And I think I've been inspired by something I saw this morning to do something about it. But before I continue on my inspiration rant, Zero, thank you for being a member as well. As for your first donation to today's stream, go get yourself some pine needle tea on your way past the commissary. We have heard the tree scream. It's not audible to human ears and shows that they let out a noise as it's being cut. Well, that's true of normal trees. But the 4521 tree literally doesn't scream even outside of our hearing range. That's the whole point of the anomaly, man. You know this. I've told you this before. We've discussed this in our research. You got to keep up, man. You got to keep up. Zerdrin, good hopping. Hello. Silent follower, good to see you as well. Thank you for being a member. So yes, whoever said, do you mean X isn't an SCP? Yes, that is what I meant. You know what I meant. You gotta keep up. You understand. We operate on a level that is deeper than words. It is thoughts. It is cognition. And it is memetics. You know. You know. I believe in you. So anyways, yes, the X isn't an SCP series. But if it were, I think the first one that I would like to study, I think I would have a fun one with the study. If we went after the princess, that is some high-level conceptual anomaly containment. I mean, obviously, we're not going to slay the princess. We don't slay anomalies. We contain them, but we can contain them. How would you contain a deity like that? No, not making out, you annoying person. Your name is right. Shh, we don't fraternize with the anomalies. No, not the Princess Peach. No, the Princess Mound, shifting mound man. We need to contain the concept of death. No, not the concept of death. Wait a minute. Because we need to... End of Death is an SCP canon where death was done, and we didn't like that. And so... I don't know, man. I think it'd be interesting. Cognitive anomalies that act on your perception of them, that's cool. That's something we can look at. That's something I'm sure there are great stories on the wiki to compare and contrast to. We could teach people about some really cool SCPs that way. You're all talking so fast. And you're all using too many capital letters. My head is pounding. You need to talk only in lowercase. Ruined, you're correct. They need to stop. They need to stop fraternizing with the SCP. So, I'm thinking that we go into the Slay the Princess route for the next script. I think that could be fun. And if so, I need to be able to reference other anomalies that can be changed by your perception of them. And so we're going to go into the tag list. We're going to go into the tag list on the SCP website. And we're going to see what they have to do with the word perception. If we look at the P's, period, personnel, performance, Percival, pentagram. So there is no perception. We got to find the tag that makes sense with this. Hold on just one second. I see that donation. I'm already mad at you, Dr. Darwin. Grab yourself some coffee at the commissary, and meanwhile, a little fraternizing with the SCPs hasn't hurt anyone just yet. Also, how is containment going today? Any breaches yet? No. Everyone on the site is quiet today. They all feel the effects of yesterday. It's a quiet day. Everything's fine here except for the sound of all of our heads pounding as one. Meanwhile, fraternizing with SCPs has hurt so many people. It is laughable that you would say otherwise. Your denial does not change the facts. Drink the Stars, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself a cup of milk with 2 raw eggs in it. Maybe that'll help your hangover. And yes, there's a lot of side effects to amnestic overuse. Besides constant headaches, you can end up with longer-term memory loss than you would have liked from the amnestic use. It's not good for your health, so, I mean, we only use them if we have to. Or if the thing we saw was particularly horrifying. Or if you just want to forget that thing that you did that day because it was super embarrassing. Then that's a good reason to use it too. Yes, so that's where I was. I was going to look at the different anomalies that bend reality and why they do it. Because perception is not a tag, so we can't use perception. Sheena, you're right. Long-term amnestic use essentially presents as dementia. It's not the same thing because it's chemically caused. But it's basically the same thing. Artemis, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself some chocolate ice cream with bacon bits at the commissary. Would somebody be considered an SCP if they were immune to SCP's effects, such as Cousin Johnny? Are you saying Cousin Johnny is immune to other SCPs? Or are you saying you're immune to Cousin Johnny? That's confusing. That's a confusing question, but yes, if you're immune to anomalies or you deactivate anomalies, then you would obviously be anomalous yourself in a way. Du Bois, remember the channel rules. We do not talk about that particular researcher. So while I appreciate your donation, we don't talk about Bruno here. That's just a rule you got to keep track of. So if you're not a perception-based anomaly, well, probably narrative anomalies would make sense. It would have to be a metafictional anomaly. What other anomalous tags would you use for Slay the Princess? Definitely not the administrator. Thank you for your donation. The first one to today's stream. Grab yourself a glass of orange juice with just a little hair of the dog to survive the day. Sheeny, you're darn right. Me and all my homies hate that researcher. That's the rule. Scapegoat, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself a Snickers bar dipped in mayonnaise on your way past the commissary. Would you tell if you were on the 05 or about? Of course I would tell you if I was an overseer. I mean, yeah, none of us know who any of them are. It's all very mysterious and very secret, but of course I would tell you if I were an overseer. For sure. Lockjaw, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself some Skittles dropped in a beer. Skittlebrow, they call it, when you pass by the commissary. And you're saying SCP-2761 versus 682? Well, I gotta go look at 2761 then. Is that Bananazilla again? Are you making me look at Bananazilla for like the 100th time? Yup. We've already talked about this one in the past. Bananazilla and 682 are going nowhere near each other because essentially you end up with two 682s. And that just seems like a frustrating thing. And if that wouldn't happen, then 682 would defeat Bananazilla and we wouldn't be able to test it anymore. So that, no. That test is never going to happen. Worst mess hall food? No. No, Wetzer, you don't understand. Everything I'm saying right now that you guys need to get from the commissary are hangover cures. You need to hop on that if you're going to be okay with what's happened in the last 24 hours. I'm just taking care of you guys. I'm a good site director. I'm here for you. Gamer, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself some pickles dipped in cheese on your way past the commissary. So, So what D&D class is closest to 049? Well, it would have to be some sort of cleric, I assume. But instead of casting spells, it just uses Raise Dead a whole bunch, and it has permanent poison touch. That's my first thought. But what do you guys think? What D&D class is closest to SCP-049, if not a cleric with permanent poison touch and Raise Dead? Ender Bees, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Go get yourself a small cup of honey with hot sauce in it when you pass the commissary. Hello, do you have any advice for making an SCP-OC? Well, be careful that you don't give your SCP-OC too much anomalous fluid after imbibing SCP-420-J. That's my first tip, because when that happens, it's a bad time for everyone involved. But furthermore, you should check out my SCP writing tips for SCP writers video here on the channel, because a lot of that applies to OCs. If you go to the Site42 TikTok, the Black Division, I also have one of those playlists that's, pardon, oh. that is SCP-OC tips. I got a whole list of how performances you should do things and character writing. Those are things that you got to like look into and take care of. So do that. Got it. Scapegoat, thank you for donating again. Are you infected? Are you infected a sentient pen piloting an anomalously handsome buddy? Is that your headcanon? It wouldn't be the weirdest headcanon I heard of. I've heard some pretty weird ones. Terrifying, really. Yes, Lay. Why are you streaming so much? Well, call it a New Year's resolution, but instead of for New Year's, it was for 1 million subscribers. It is, since we hit 1 million, and I realized that I'm working on videos in a manner that they're long and drawn out, I wanted to come on and talk to you guys more and keep things more active. I feel like that's a fun thing to do. I feel like you guys are having fun. I mean, if you don't want me streaming so much, I can ease back for sure. I just thought that you thought that it would be a cool idea. But you just let me know about that. Definitely not the administrator. Thank you for donating again. Last one because you're broke. I get it. The budget slashings have been terrible around the foundation, but we're going to get through. Craig, thank you for being a member. Good to see you. When you were talking to your overseer about your promotion to regional director, I'm not holding him hostage to do this. Well, honestly, with all the tumult in the foundation right now, I'm just playing it by ear, man. Am I getting promoted? Am I getting demoted? Am I getting remoted? Who knows, man. So, yeah, let's just keep things flexible right now with all the chaos going on. Moon Blair, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself a cup of spiders on your way past the commissary. I cast Summon Spider from Moon from the mold. So is that the Spider Moon? Because I'm going to nuke that. There are some anomalies we just don't F with, and that's one. I'll be keeping an eye on the moon just in case. Some dude not real. Thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself some jelly beans on your frozen yogurt as you pass the commissary. What was the battles of Ganzir in SCP-5000? So we don't know a lot of details. This is actually a surprise to me. A couple weeks ago, I did a stream with Afray Interactive. They're making SCP-5K the game. And they wanted me to come on as a Global Occult Coalition expert to talk about the GOC lore on the wiki as compared to their GOC lore in their game and how they're slightly tweaking it. And I interviewed the author, Dr. Clef, one of the founders of the SCP Wiki. And creator of, obviously, Dr. Clef. And Dr. Clef is also very early in the lore of the GOC's creation. So, like, Clef is not like the originator, but really earlier in the making of the GOC. So I was like, oh, I got an interview with Clef. I'll ask him all the questions I have. And Clef's a bro. Clef gave me like an essay to work off of. It was really good. And one of the things he mentioned, because I asked about Ganzir, and he's like, I don't know nothing about that. Ganzir is new. It was just created for 5000. And so all the lore of Ganzir past then is still in the making / barely talked about. So I don't have answers on Ganzir. Someone's got to write Ganzir before we can know about Ganzir. Scapegoat, thank you for donating 5 Site 42 memberships. Congratulations to Callista and Balek and Narrator Nate and Richard Jones and Snowy Place for becoming members. Make sure to thank Scapegoat there. Sona the Sweet, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself some pixie sticks poured into a celery soda on your way past the commissary. Joe's Milk, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab some strawberry milk and toss a little Sweet and Low and ketchup in there. And that'll do you good. Your head will feel way better. Moon Player, thank you for donating again. They're no longer on the moon. They're in my mold. Well, as long as you keep them in your mold and don't let them out, we won't have a fight. Silent Follower, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Grab yourself some mint chocolate ice cream with some fried shrimp from the commissary. You're going to feel better immediately, I promise. Origami, good to see you in the stream. Thank you for being a member. How are you doing? I missed the start of stream. Can you give me a brief of today's test results? Today's test results are if you're taking part in a celebration of SCP-420-J, make sure you limit your consumption of anomalous liquid after that. Don't get carried away, or it's bad for everyone. Just bad for everyone. Craig Thomas, thank you for donating. Is this your first donation to the stream today? I think this is your first donation to the stream today. So you can get yourself some lemon sorbet at the commissary. Lemon is a favorite flavor of mine. I like sour stuff, so lemon sorbet is pretty good. / sherbet. I don't know the difference between sherbet and sorbet, but I know that I very often get called sherbet, so I prefer sorbet for that reason. Scapegoat, thank you for donating again. I was kidding before about the 05. You are what they strive to be. I do believe that they should do their best to strive to follow my example, as if they even know who I am. Just a site director at a random site out in the boonies of the West Coast. Oh, browser. Why did you do this to me? No, it's too bright. I can't even see the mouse. Why is this criminal offense happening in my face? Crimes. Chicken jockey. I hear those are pretty dangerous. I'm unfamiliar with the anomaly, but they are very popular right now. They're very in. Also, I've got this mental image in my head of Shy Guy riding 173, like pointing forward very aggressively from atop 173's shoulders and yelling, "Peanut Jockey!" And so that's our foundation version of it, I've decided. Pimp Demon, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Although I'm not going to answer your question because you asked a forbidden question. We don't talk about Bruno, aka the doctor whose name starts with B and R. It's just a rule here at Site 42 due to the grievous crimes of his creator. And so, just, you might not have known the rule, but we don't talk about Bruno here. So, unfortunately, I cannot talk about that. Although we aren't going to do anything with 079 and Cybermen for sure, regardless of the involvement of that researcher. I'm not giving 079 a body. It's a terrible idea. Entity Zero, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself a glass of lemon juice with a celery stalk in it on your way past the commissary. Hey, what would happen if we let a D-Class look at SCP-096 and make it chase the D-Class far enough to never return, after all the research has been done? So the D class could not get far enough from 096 for it to ever get far enough to never return. That is just so much distance to cover, and 096 is way too fast. So unfortunately, an experiment that won't work. Vodka Cat, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself some bacon-flavored vodka on your way past the commissary. Hey, so a stream a while ago, I asked you if SCP-3008 has internet cellular signal. I thought there was a drone explosion in it, so how does that work? A drone exploration, I imagine. So when it comes to drone explorations, that would have to be done between the drone controller and the drone itself. You know, you can fly drones outside. So it's not as if the drones have to have Wi-Fi. So not quite the same there, but I understand what you're going for. Sheeny, thank you for your donation, the first donation, I believe, to this day's stream. Grab yourself some candy corn melted in a pan and then used to make French toast on your way past the commissary. Per Local 58, we should probably not be looking at the moon, just saying. I agree entirely. The moon's having a lot of problems recently. Silent Follower, thank you for donating another corgi. Much appreciated. Artemis, thank you for donating again. Since 2764 is in a time loop, was it ever found out how he became 2764 in the first place? 2764. The Eldritch Antarctic. Is that what you're talking about? Yeah. So, it is a massive biological entity of unknown origin. Height measured to be 382 meters, 150,000 metric tons. 75 to 85 tentacles. Lots of logs. Set up a camp, first opportunity. Heard the voice. Never listen to the voices. It's always a bad idea. 12 o'clock, 9/10 of the way there. The creatures disappeared. Realization that you are alone. You set up your tent. So it looks like we do not have any documentation on where that thing came from, unfortunately. It would be nice to know, but it just doesn't seem to be there in the document. I wonder if there are any... straighten up, straighten up. I wonder if there are any further documents on this anomaly. 2764. Nope, no additional documentation, unfortunately, either. So, yeah, that's one of those mysteries of the Foundation, unfortunately. Scapegoat, thank you for donating again. Office prank for rookies. Put an empty box on their desk, leave it slightly open. Put itching powder on their uniform. Label the box invisible spiders. You are horrifying. That's terrible. If you ever did that to me, oh, the keter duty you would have to work. I would appreciate that so little. Balak, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself some chicken wings and a lot of blue cheese dressing on your way past the commissary. Foundation made SCPs. Now they're fixing their mess. We try not to make SCPs because usually that just causes more problems. So making SCPs is not usually our MO. Always causes more problems than it fixes. That's just a fact. Chaos Diver, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself some spearmint bubblegum wrapped around a deviled egg on your way past the commissary. Dr. Sherman, it's the unofficial Chaos Diver. I've been tracking your content. I'm observing your ways on how you can pacify and capture the anomalies. Well, are you starting a anomalous foundation of containing anomalies in your universe? If so, you've come to the right place to study. Maverick the Dragon, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself some dragon fruit blended into a fine liquid with some pulp, and then coat that on top of a Salisbury steak when you pass the commissary. Are there any Dinosaur SCPs? This should be pretty easy to find if I go into the tags. Yep, we do have a tag for dinosaurs. There are currently 52 pages on the SCP-net database listed as dinosaur. That is a fair amount of dinosaurs, so be cautious in that wing. Jelly Legs, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself a jelly donut, but the jelly's been sucked out and replaced with a combination of jalapeno cheddar and fish paste so that you have a delicious, savory, fishy, umami sweet treat when you pass the commissary. Could SCP-999 calm down 096 or 682? Well, it has calmed down 682 for a minute, but then it freaked out and made everyone around the site tickle while it breached containment, so that was a bad plan. And 096 is actually fine with 999 because if you look at the documentation for 999, you'll realize that 999 doesn't actually have eyeballs. And so it doesn't activate 096. So they can be chill. The problem is as soon as someone sees 096, it ignores 999 and runs off to do violence. So it's not a permanent solution by any means. Daylin and Homestar Runner and 2 More Eggs Lover, thank you for becoming subscribers. This does look good for Homestar Runner. Aesthetic Zone, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself a hamburger, but instead of ketchup and mustard, I want you to use peanut butter when you pass the commissary. I need a reminder of all of our classified info for the Chaos the Foundation. Well, all of our stuff's in the SCP-net database, and the insurgency cannot access that. Therefore, just go on the SCP-net database. You're going to be fine. Hello, Mr. Nice Live Guy. Thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself, let's say, some sweet tea, but with a dollop of mustard on your way past the commissary. This is a Chaos Insurgent. We have the Foundation under our control. A lot of people claiming to be the Chaos Insurgency in a Foundation chat. I hope you know your IPs are being tracked, so unless you are double agents who are working for us, you're going to be in a bad time. So, bless you for the opportunity to put you in a chokehold. Unscrupulous Treasurer, thank you for your first donation to today's stream and for sharing some of your unscrupulous treasure with us. Artemis, thank you for donating again. Considering the Stanley Parable, would Stanley, the narrator, or the office building be the SCP or all three? So the Stanley Parable is a metafictional construct created by the narrator. And so I would almost venture to say that SCP-3999 is very close in format to the Stanley Parable. Just an overwhelming being bothering a lower level narrative level being again and again. That is where I would consider that. So I would consider the whole construct to be the anomaly in question. Terragull. Thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself... How are we going to cure your hangover today? You're going to do a good old-fashioned pickleback shot for some hair of the dog. You're going to take a shot of Jack Daniel's whiskey and then a shot of pickle juice. And that is going to be your hangover cure today. And you asked, hi there, I'm from another reality and currently evading Foundation capture. Any advice how to escape, please? I hear they're sending Samsara unit on you. Well, if you're from another universe, you're anomalous by nature, and therefore you deserve to be in containment. So not only am I not going to advise you on escaping, I'm going to suggest you lay down on the ground and put your hands behind your back and let them do their job, which is to put you in a box. Jason, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself, get some nice instant ramen, but then for a tasty addition for your hangover, sprinkle some cinnamon on top when it's done. It'll cure you right up. You ever think about the fact that your biological body is actually just like a computer in an organic form? I mean, everything can be described as a computer or as a body. That's just metaphors, man. That's just thinking of things as other things. I make metaphors all the time, but a metaphor doesn't make it a thing unless you're in a anomalous situation where your perceptions make things into the things you perceive. Then you're going to have a bad time with that, unfortunately. Hello, Mr. Nice Live Guy. Thank you for donating again. You should play SCP Secret Laboratory and roleplay a scientist or something. It's a really fun game. I did have a fun game when I played with the community on Secret Lab on stream. It was so chaotic, it was really hard to keep track of. So I'd have to get good before I tried that more often. But yeah, we did that once. It was a good time. Turtle Rebellion, thank you for your donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself some nachos and alligator dip on your way past the commissary. What if hypothetically I saw a picture of 096 and I've gotten to the moon? What would happen? Just hypothetically, totally not real. So here's the deal. I don't know if you know this, but with how fast SCP-096 is, even though 096 is very skinny, 096 has a dump truck when it comes to glute strength. I mean, just kapow. And so all 096 is going to have to do is walk outside of the site and then use that squat booty to bend down low and then springboard to the moon. You're going to get God. I'm sorry. 096 has got those squat gains. Run all day, jump all day. You're just not going to make it. Bullet to the moon, baby. Leuna, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself a Hershey's bar, a marshmallow, but instead of a graham cracker, I want you to use Cheez-Its and make a s'more out of that. That'll cure your hangover right up. Hello, Doc. I'm doing testing cheese before sleep test. Oh, you're going to have those weird dreams. All right, report back. Let us know if any of the dream entities show up to chastise you for your choices. Inamohaha, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself a handful of Jelly Bellies. Just throw them in the air, and the ones that land in your mouth are the ones you get. Scapegoat, thank you for donating again. If the King in Yellow was an SCP, what would the containment entail? Hope you get a box of your favorite cereal, Doctor. My favorite cereal? Well, I mean, I'm an old man now, and so I like cereal that's like health cereal. Give me some plain Cheerios, or throw in some of that protein cereal. Low sugar. Got to be healthy and stuff like that. But, it's been so long since I had cereal, actually, on purpose. Guess I'd have to go with, if I'm going for junk food, probably Reese's Puffs. Cheesy Chives and Mariana, thank you for becoming Site 42 subscribers. That being said, Scapegoat, the King in Yellow, isn't the King in Yellow part of the Allegata stuff, or is that just inspired by? I don't even remember right now. Oh, Hanged King, not Yellow King in this case. Yes, so that is different. So, Yellow King, Cthulhu mythos. So what I would say is that we'd be dealing with various other SCP Eldritch God beings. So you would need to look at some Eldritch anomalies to understand how the King in Yellow would work, because it'd be basically the same. Joe's Milk, thank you for donating again. Listen to a banana to hear rightness. Banana was too silent. Realizes bananas aren't supposed to make sound. Anyone else try this? So, I mean, if the trees make sounds and the grass makes sounds, I believe that bananas probably make sounds until you pick them. That's probably something I would guess on there. Although the question would be it be the tree making the sound or the banana? Interesting. We'll have to do more research. Sheeny, thank you for donating again. And 096 with a BBL. No, a BBL doesn't work because a BBL is fake. You got to do it natural with the exercise. Grow that muscle. That's the real stuff right there. Foundation Fitness Initiative for sweet, sweet gains. Leuna, thank you for donating again. My predictions is Jesus. We'll report back. Oh, hey, if Jesus visits you in your sleep, that's actually not great for us. I thought we had Jesus very contained. That's going to need some more checking. Okay, well, the mic's still working, but chat is being funny on my screen right here. Let me turn it off and on again and see if that fixes things. Boom, boom, boom. It's so weird. It's faded. It's not clear to see. That's peculiar. It's never done that before. Yes, the Four Sides, I could use some SCP-500 to help with the hangover, but they won't approve it. It's increasingly rude. I have work to do. Craig, take good care of your company and see you later. Orange Cloud, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself some orange juice, put into an ice tray with a popsicle stick, but then the popsicle stick is dipped in chocolate sauce so that you get a nice little surprise when you get to the center, when you pass the commissary. Quaker Life cereal? You know, I do like oatmeal, but I didn't know they had cereal. Am I thinking of the same thing? Also, what would happen if you put 035, the possessive mask, on Shy Guy? If the mask covers his whole face, does that mean you can look at him in the mask's eyes? So no, because 096, either 096 would still chase things down even with 035 on it, because 035 could not control 096 fully, or we'd be giving 035 a super powerful, hard-to-destroy body. That's a terrible idea. And so I'd rather not do that. Church, hello, I love your TikTok compilations. And if different characters were in the SCP, how would they be contained? Keep up the good work. Glad to hear it. I'm looking forward to beginning the X is Not an SCP series anew later today. I just need a little downtime, casual Friday this Tuesday before I get to work on the writing portion, because if I look at a screen too hard right now, my eyes will fall out of my head. I wish that was a metaphor. What are my thoughts on Aperture Science? I mean, they are reckless. They are entirely a problem. They need to do less chaotic things, I would appreciate. Especially that Wheatley fellow. Ugh. Dr. Monica Gray. Hello, it's me, Dr. Gray. Question. How would I go see the Mothman? No reason. Dr. Gray, you know the rules about fraternizing with the anomalies. And so I'm not telling you anything until you learn your lesson. Stuka. Thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself a can of green beans, drain the liquid, drop them onto a plate of rice, and then cover that in sea salt on your way past the commissary. How is 1371 doing, or 8401? Let me pull up the database for 1371 first. So that is a juvenile axolotl swimming in the air. Database here says that 1371 is doing fine. Removed a finger. The finger returned in 16 hours unharmed, slowly floating downwards through the exposition. So, yeah, we got it back. It seems to be doing fine. We've stopped testing. We understand things there. And you asked about 8401. Ah, so you're just an axolotl fan. I get it. And this one is capable of long-range teleportation and speech. Ah, yes, this is the one that only shows up when you are dying. Yeah, that one seems nice enough, if not a little insensitive. Mask, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself a horse feeder at the commissary and fill it with creamed corn and chives on your way past the commissary. If I created two 096s and made them look at each other. So the thing about 096 is it already knows what it looks like, and it's mad about that fact. So if there was another 096, it already knows what it looks like. So it's not like surprised that it knows what it is. And so they would just kind of chill. Terragal, thank you for donating again. Hi, I'm a member of the Foundation. Thank you for telling the anomalies to submit to Foundation capture. The individual seems to be a draconic entity from a world overrun by anomalies. Again, thank you. Good work. Thank you for locking them down. Make sure to lock the box tight. Ethan, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself some fried chicken dipped in honey on your way past the commissary. Scapegoat, thank you for donating again. We are told green is the color of grass, but it is the same color for everyone. If not, how will we know if we can see anomalous colors? I've always wondered about this. I've always wondered if we all see the same colors. It's not something we found a way to test cognitively, but, you know, what if my red is your blue? What if we have favorite colors because we all see colors differently? What if everyone's favorite color is puce, but we don't know it? Because almost nothing is puce, but we all see puce as what puce is. I'm giving myself a headache more than I already got, man. Tommy Nader, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself some lollipops dipped in chili powder on your way past the commissary. Yo, saw you on Death Battle's stream earlier. Yeah, that was really cool. I did not expect to be shouted out like they knew who I was or something. Like, they could have just said Site 42, but they were like, no, it's SCP channel Site 42. And I was like, Death Battle knows me, man? Crazy. We are bringing the Foundation to the people. I mean, they have done 2 SCP episodes for Death Battle Podcast Cast, and so probably they're getting more exposure to SCP by osmosis of the algorithm. Still, that's pretty chill. Maybe I'll help them out on some research sometime. The Computer Guy, thank you for what I think might be your first donation to today's stream. I don't remember. But if not, grab yourself a margarita laced with tahini on your way past the commissary. It's almost my birthday. Just wondering what happens to human anomalies in containment. Is it just a box or something more, and does behavior affect that? Well, happy almost birthday to you. Maybe you'll catch us on stream on your actual birthday. We'll have to see. So humanoid anomalies get containment cells based on the need for containment, as well as their behavior. If you are nice and good and not trying to escape, usually you're granted more privileges, more forms of entertainment, more socialization. Whereas if you keep trying to breach containment, we take things away from you, so you stop doing that. So that's how that works with the anomalies like that. Lugnites, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself some chocolate lug nuts on your way past the commissary. Does that pen actually work? Well, it does click. It does spin. The tabby on the end for doing touchscreens, that is old enough and destroyed, so that doesn't work anymore. That's fair. Or is that what it's really for? And yes, it does in fact write as well, among other activities it can do. Sona, thank you for donating again. Says 999 is incapable of hate. Can we introduce him to 053 and let them have happy play dates? So here's the thing. Everything that goes by 053 ends up trying to destroy it. And 999 is way bigger than it. And so just imagine 053 smothered in goo, floating inside the slime. And that's why we don't do that. Because we don't know that 999 is incapable of hate. We could push 999 to a limit in testing. I'm not sure yet. Unscrupulous Treasurer, thank you for throwing another ducat to the Site 42 cause. Japendragon, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself, let's say you need to grab yourself a York peppermint patty suspended in a ferrofluid, but a sugary ferrofluid. That'll cure your hangover right out. Jack the Jackal, thank you for becoming a subscriber, by the way. And Japendragon, you asked which SCP has the nicest living conditions in its cell. Well, I don't know the whole database by heart, so it's kind of hard to know such a thing. But what I can tell you is, of the ones I do know, SCP-999-J has a sick setup. I mean, whatever it takes to contain a Keter anomaly like that, but researcher Talaran just gives us the parameters that he needs, that they need to contain this anomaly, and the Keter anomaly is staying in containment. So obviously, Talaran's 999-J containment protocols are working. But man, it's got a hot tub over there. It's got all sorts of video games. I think there are some go-karts at one point. Yeah, 3999-J duty sounds pretty sweet. Researchers Candy and Alexa certainly happen to have a good time over there, is what I hear. Church, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself a communion waiver dipped in Jell-O on your way past the commissary. Isn't Talaran 3999? You sure that's not just their room? Yes, the Forest Eyes. So I'm taught, yeah, 3999-J is like an alternate universe version of 3999. But remember, 3999 tortures Talaran. But 3999-J, Talaran is containing the hell out of SCP-3999-J. So different universe, different rules. Can entities be gay? Logan, there are several anomalies of the L, the G, the B, the T, the Q, and the IA persuasions. Just as there are many people who are those things, there are many humanoid anomalies or even monstrous anomalies that are those things. And we don't discriminate because they all go in a box. The Black Cat, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself some wet food, but sprinkle some fish food from the aquarium on it when you pass the commissary. Has 049 been causing trouble as of late? No, actually. 049 has been a model anomaly this last couple of weeks. We traded unlimited access to 113, the gender switching stone, if 049 faithfully served with one of the mobile task forces. And so far, no problems. So let's just keep it that way, and I'd be very happy. Who is my favorite SCP? Carter VR. I always say my favorite SCPs at the end of stream. And so we're probably going to go for another hour or so. And if you guys hang out to the end, you can see my favorite SCPs. Or you could sneak back to the previous streams because I always do it at the end. So unless someone donated a sufficient amount to make me do it early, you can always check the end of previous streams. Sonny the Vamp Hog, will you answer my question, please? Yes, I will answer your question. Congratulations. Consider it answered. And also, make sure you don't just say, hey, can I ask a question? Because I might not even see your name again because the chat's flying by. So I'll do my best, but, you know, this is just what we got to do, just what we got to do. Monica Gray, you cannot see the Mothman. Request denied. Now do your job. Random Fandom, have you ever been under the effects of an SCP? Also, what are memetics exactly? I thought they were memory erasing drugs, but now they don't make sense because they're clearly not. So, number one, have I been under the effects of an SCP? I mean, yesterday's stream, I was under the effects of SCP-420-J. That was just yesterday. If you've worked at the Foundation, you've been under the effects of multiple SCPs. It's just a fact of life. Secondly, you asked, what are memetics? So memetics are memes that affect your brain in anomalous ways. So what you're thinking about when it erases memory is called an amnestic. Like amnesia, amnestic. And amnestic are the drugs that erase your memory. And then nestics are the drugs that restore your memory. Don't take both at the same time. It's really bad for your brain. Memetics are memes that infect you with some sort of anomalous effect after you look at the meme. So that's a different department altogether. Robin, thank you as always for being a member. And hello, Sherm. How's Raymond? And how's the cat-made waifu 049 crusade going? Also, what's your favorite SCP to turn into a D&D magic item? So, you must be thinking of a different universe. Raymond did not survive R049, unfortunately. And the cat-made waifu 049 thing was a fun adventure. And I might pick it back up again if 049 stops cooperating with the whole Mobile Task Force gender switching stone plan. But for right now, we are at a temporary truce. So keep your fingers crossed that that stays fine. And to finish your question, favorite SCP to turn into a D&D magic item? I think the bone bracelet is a very useful one. Bone bracelet. SCP-154 is a very useful SCP for magic using in D&D games. It's pretty fun. Jackburn, do your sunglasses have many anti-mimetic properties? No, they just keep the lights out of my eyes while I'm hungover. See yesterday's stream for why I'm hungover, but today we're just trying to recover. J. Pendragon, thank you for donating again. Which SCP would cause the most concern if it started behaving civilly, in your opinion? Cause the most concern if it started behaving civilly? I mean, first of all, I love the idea of any anomaly behaving civilly, because then it would be less work to contain it. So how would I be concerned if an SCP that was not civil became civil? I think if 682 started acting nice, I would be worried. Oh, by the way, Sheeny, I see you said that there. That sucre goes really well with bourbon or rum. Just a heads up. That's good stuff right there. As I was saying, yeah, not a lot of anomalies would bother me if they started acting civilly, but I wouldn't trust 682 or 096 if they started like talking all of a sudden. I'd be really on nerves about that. Charles, that's pretty cool that another grown-up is talking about SCPs like I am, and I'm a 43-year-old grandpa watching them with my grandkids, lol. Well, I am not quite 43, but I am 38, so close enough. And, yes, when you, there's Renaissance fairs, and, you know, people at the Renaissance fairs are all, you gotta grow up to be an actor and responsible and, talented like that, so... it's one thing, just make sure you never lose your youthful spirit, and you'll have a good time. Mr. G, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself some peanut brittle dipped in salsa on your way past the commissary. Can you let me out? I want to kick Scarlet King's shin. So, I mean, Scarlet King's not in our universe right now, so you're going to have to wait on that. But if we run out of ways to stop it when it shows up, then I'll keep you in mind. Computer Guy, thank you for donating again. So say if some guy had large bird wings on their back, if that got out, how worried would they be about containments? Totally not asking for myself. So, I mean, if you had bird wings and you are a human being, you are anomalous, so you're going in a box. So... I would be worried if you didn't want to be contained. If you do want to be contained, that's great for you and we'll be with you shortly. Jason, thank you for donating again. Did you saw where I put my USB stick? I may or may not have classified information on it. I forgot where I put it immediately, not a spy. So, you should check with the anomalous USB stick, which is SCP... 2306 1934-J, and see if any of them got swapped out for your USB. Sometimes that happens. They're small, it's easy to mistake. Artemis Blake, how many Wonderainment products has the Foundation contained so far? Thank you for donating again while I pull up the SCP Dr. Wonderainment Hub. Because if I go to Dr. Wonderainment, and go down the list, let's see, these are all fairy tales, social work, chapter books, toys. So you specifically asked about toys, right? Right? Products. So I'll assume that means toys. So, oh, son of a gun. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. Stay there. 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69. Nice. 70, 71. Pause there. Scroll up. Jesus Christ. The bread won this time. The bread Jesus. What number was I on? 71? 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100. 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112, 113, 114, 115. That's too many toys, man. That's too many toys. Splashy Lion, thank you for what I think is your first donation to today's stream, but you redacted your message, so I hope you take care on that fact. And make sure to grab yourself some of that astronaut ice cream, but sprinkle in some steak bites on your way past the commissary. Looks like I have to refresh my browser again. There we go. There we go. And we're back. Monkey Boy, I do not have a least favorite SCP that I know of. It's just not the way I interact with art. And so, I mean, there's so many of them. I don't know. I keep track of my favorites, but I don't keep track of my negative don't like them. That's just bad energy. That's bad juju. Got to be positive about the world. Goodbye. Hope you've had a wonderful day and your 420-J hangover is cured. Remember, 420-J doesn't leave you hangovers. It's only if you drink too much anomalous fluid after you forget because you're enjoying your 420-J time. But yeah, we'll be okay. And have a great rest of your day too. Building Block, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself a bacon cheeseburger, but with donuts as the bun on your way past the commissary. If a man made of Legos with the power to materialize imagination were willing to get in the box, would they be allowed a bacon burger, hypothetically? So, do anomalous Lego people eat? That sounds pretty strange to me, but I guess, I mean, we gotta feed an anomaly if it needs to eat. So, yeah. Sheeny, I was making myself a cup of sucre when you mentioned adding rum or bourbon, so I popped a little rum, and it's dangerous. Love it. Oh, yeah. The just a little bit of bite from your rum or your bourbon, which are sweet, but also that got that little bit of burn to it. That's a scary game you're playing there, but it's also delightful. In moderation, of course. Anomalous fluids like that have to be used in moderation. Be careful. Be responsible. Don't be like me right now. Dark Red, good to see you in the chat, and thank you for being a member. Hello. Siren, you fed 999 soda. What do? Well, now you have to babysit it, because now it's going to be bouncing off the walls. Sometimes literally, so be careful in there. I saw someone ask something that I was interested in, but the chat needs to show it to me again. Where are you? Question I was interested in answering. How do they know? How do they know what we are doing? Cave Diver and Wyvern Caverns. Funny that you both subscribe at the same time. How coincidental. Thank you guys for becoming Site 42 staff members. Dark Red, what action had consequences? Drinking too much anomalous fluid because I was too relaxed from the 420-J to notice that I was giving myself a hangover. That's the action that requires consequences right now. Yesterday, the sunglasses were to cover up red eyes. Today, the sunglasses are to cover up all light from entering my retinas. Believe you me. J. Dragon, thank you for donating again. And how would the Foundation contain the Infinity Stones? So the good news is that they can just sit in a box, man. Those boxes just contain things. That's easy. So I'm not too worried about that, as long as someone's not using them to make our lives a living heck. Hi, I love your channel. Thank you, Viper. Much appreciated. How do you know if you're an anomaly? Are there any symptoms? Well, Sonny, the way you know you're an anomaly is if you behave in a way that is abnormal for humans. Sometimes people grow up with anomalous abilities that they didn't know they were anomalous because they just thought it was normal. Hiccups. No. No hiccups. Why? Not now. Drink the water slowly while holding your nose and gargling. Ooh, that hurt. Did it work? Ooh. All right. It seems like I'm not dead. What was I saying? Yeah, so, I mean, if you can do things that other humans can't, and it's not just like a skill issue, it is that you are magical in some way, it's pretty easy to tell. T-John, tell us about the gender-swapping stone. So the deal with SCP-113 is that... what was the phrase I was looking for here? I mean, it's just a red rock that switches your gender. And, you know, if you identify as a male, you turn into a female. If you identify as a female, you turn into a male. We had a non-binary person use it once, and they turned into a cat person. And then it caused a whole flood of non-binary staff members trying to get the gender-switching stone, which, I mean, live your lives, I guess. The problem with the gender-switching stone is it has a not insignificant chance of killing you upon use. And, oh, Jesus. Specifically, the Vor Jesus this time. I got jump scared by my own face on the wiki. I got jump scared by my own face. I was trying to pick a random SCP so that I could change the database number to SCP-113 so I could look up the details for this conversation we're having about gender swapping stone. But the SCP I clicked on is SCP-009-J. And I don't know if you guys know about the history of the SCP Wiki, but it used to be when we were a 4chan offshoot and a young wiki, people would just steal pictures from the internet willy-nilly and use them for their stories. And this created a problem where SCPs were using stolen art, and when we release our things Creative Commons, you're not allowed to release someone else's work Creative Commons. And so over time, we decided as a community to remove all non-compliant images. And that means we had to get Creative Commons compliant images and or make our own. And one of the articles, 009-J, had a non-compliant picture of a scientist from some stock photo site, and I was asked to recreate those pictures so that we could have a scientist doing it. And that is when I became several pictures in SCP-009-J, and now I have plumb jump scared myself, with myself. That was certainly a moment there. Let me finish up this gender switching stone question so I can get back to the chat. So the gender switching stone has changed recently, I see. So, subjects of a single-sex hermaphroditic species such as earthworms will not be transformed by SCP-113. Previously exposed subjects may undergo 113's effects again by reinitiating contact with 113 after 60 seconds have passed. However, in 25% of cases, immediate second exposure to 113 fails to transform the subject correctly. Transformation failure varies in nature, but usually includes massive bone, organ, and tissue damage to the subject, commonly resulting in death. So, yeah, this has been updated at some point. And so I need to look at this again and see how it's changed, because I have been talking about 113 for years, but now 113 is different. So I need to do my own research in a minute. Rivulay, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself a Jacksonville soda pop on your way past the commissary. That's where you drink some water and then you huff the carbonation straight from the tube to carbonate it in your mouth. Florida anomalies are the walking, talking whales. You are correct. Those are things we contain down there for a reason, so they don't get out and bother the rest of the world. Scapegoat, thank you for your repeated donation to the cause here. If Willy Wonka was an SCP, would there all be candy considered anomalous? What about the people eating the candy in the candy man? So I think you meant Willy Wonka because you're talking about candy. And I'm going to go with that assumption. So if the candy turns you into a balloon, then it's anomalous. If the candy shrinks you, it's anomalous. Most of what he does requires containment. Just clearly requires containment. Dark Lord, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself some barbecue sauce coated oranges on your way past the commissary. How would the Foundation deal with the graoids from Tremors? Are the graoids the worms in Tremors? I don't know their names. I'm not familiar with that movie too much. Dr. Sherman, get back to work. Vroom vroom. It is my job as site director to hold office hours to answer your questions. This is my job. So I implore you, through a threat of violence of psychological nature, to mind your manners. So you asked about graoids. Yeah, so these are big sandworms. So we would need to trap one and contain it. Otherwise, we would need to lock down the location they are in and keep people away. That way, people did not stumble upon them. That would have to be the containment, because as long as they keep going out from underground, it's difficult to deal with. Ambush predators. Did they get defeated or blown up? Haven't seen the movie, so I have to look at this. There's African and Antarctic species as well, so we have multiple sites with which to lock down so people can't get eaten like this. And if they require food and we want to keep them contained, we probably have to feed them big, healthy pigs or cows to keep them fed without a loss of human life. Okay, that's an interesting situation. Thank you for having me look into that. Ruby Carno, the Dragon Prince, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself some French fries dipped in a milkshake on your way past the commissary. How would you contain the Beast-class servants in the Fate series? An extension, would you bother trying to contain other servants like Tanimo? I have no idea about anything about the Fate series, so I'm going to look at one wiki page and see what I can find on short notice. Beast-class servant Fate. Fate Grand Order Wiki. Beasts. The beasts of calamity, symbolizing the 7 evils of man. Beasts have a base damage multiplier of 1. Beasts have a base star generation rate of 10%. I don't even know what that means. Star absorption of 150. I hope they're not absorbing stars. That would be very difficult to contain knowledge of them if stars are disappearing. Although we do that in the past, so not impossible. Beast, 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 beast. There's lots of beasts. And they're all waifus. Of course they are. Reminder to staff not to hubba hubba over the anomalies. You're not allowed to do that. They're for containment, not for consorting. Gods who created the world in Mesopotamian myth. Gods born from water and salt water. The gods rebelled against their father, gained control of the world. When this happened, Tiamat kindly watched over her children. This proved that her love of her children exceeded her love for their father. Gods turned their blades on even Tiamat, mourned and went mad, created the monstrous 11 offspring of Tiamat to battle the gods. In the battle of Tiamat and her 11 offspring lost. God split her corpse in 2 to make the heavens and the earth. This is said to be the ritual that created the human world. This is a lot. Okay. This is definitely like Scarlet King tier having to deal with it. So we'd have to like get rid of worshippers and keep them out of the universe in the first place. Because if they show up, we're going to have a problem. God Sinner, thank you for being a member of Site 42 staff, as well as for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself some Jolly Ranchers dipped in tahini on your way past the commissary. Thank you for being one of the people that helps me enjoy the scary world of SCP. P.S. How do I know if I'm an anomaly? We just talked about this, but long story short, if you can do things that normal humans can't, you're anomalous. So keep an eye on that. And you're quite welcome for helping you cope with the fear aspect of SCP by lightening the darkness a little bit. Sometimes we all gotta laugh so we don't cry. Black Cat, thank you for donating again. Wait, so why is 049 obsessed with the gender-switching stone? I haven't the faintest clue. But have you seen how many times 049 has stolen it and transformed and done funny TikTok dances? I mean, as long as it keeps 049 from killing people and making zombies, I guess that it's fine. It's better than nothing. I just wish that it didn't have to come in my office and bother me all the time. Reveal it. Thank you for donating again. I saw a wild Florida man on highway riding a golf cart. What makes Florida? It was really funny and dangerous. What even spawns that anomaly here? Okay, so that is just a dude stealing golf carts. That's not an SCP in any way of the word. Pardon me. Yeah, Florida man. There's anomalous Florida man, of course, but there's also just the normal Florida man. And that's just weird people, yo. There's anomaly Florida men, but then there's non-anomaly Florida men. It's a whole thing. Eli, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself some fish sticks and custard on your way past the commissary. I'm back and I have 999. They are mine and I shall escape this containment with them. Steve, bring tranquilizer to 999 cell and pacify Eli. Thank you. Especially with all that yelling. Do you have to yell? I've got such a headache. Golden Vortex, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself some of those little chocolate coins with the gold wrapping, but then you open them and instead of being chocolate, they're actually made of caramel, which sounds really cool. And I actually want that now. So bring some for me when you're done. And you asked, so today I dropped a screw at work today, and when I hit the ground, it split into 2 screws. What was the anomaly? P.S. I was on a ladder. I haven't heard of this anomaly, but did you happen to drop the screw in the tuna? If that was you, then I understand it's a very tragic situation if you dropped the screw in the tuna. We should all be very upset that you dropped the screw in the tuna. References no one in chat is going to get for 500, Alex. Eli, thank you for donating again. What did exactly happen to the scientists that wrote about... Oh, wait, no, that's not Eli, sorry. iNixo just donated so fast, I mistook it for Eli's. 1 second. iNixo, thank you for your first donation to today's stream by surprise. Make sure to grab yourself... Let's grab yourself a taco with sprinkles on your way past the commissary. What did exactly happen to the scientist that wrote about SCP-000? Where did his document went, since I can't find it, but I got some data. SCP-000? That's not even a thing. That's not even a thing. Are you just making up things for laughs? I may be hungover, but I am not a fool. Thank you. Eli, I've already escaped and taken them to my base. Good luck finding me, and I took 049. 049, deploy the trap. 049's on our side. Remember, it's working with the mobile task forces. You fell hook, line, and sinker for our plan. Random Fandom, thank you for helping me navigate the SCP fandom. I had no clue how to start. That is such a big problem. It's just that there's so much SCP. It's kind of like comics. You want to get into comics, where do you start getting into comics? It's the same with SCP, and the answer is you've just got to dive in, and you have to barrel through with reckless abandon. Because if you're tentative at all, it doesn't work out. You know, you got to jump in there and handle the situation by reading. Just get in there and read everything you get. Listen to content and get different advice on things you might be interested in. If a snippet of a story I talk about sounds cool, go read it. That's awesome. It makes it easier to continue getting further and further down the rabbit hole. I mean, I've been in the community for 10 years and 12 years, actually. And I know a fraction of what's there because there's just so much. But I don't let that stop me. I just keep diving in the pool again. Sheeny, thank you for donating again. At least one person got the screw in the tuna joke. It's me. I got it. That's right. Go team. Chaos Insurgency, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself a big can of Contain Yourself on your way past the commissary. Love your work. Also, can you try and explain SCP-2521? So, because our mimetic filters are on, you did not trick me and get me contained by an evil ribbon monster. So, lol, gotcha. That being said, don't talk about it if you're not in this stream. Otherwise, big trouble. That's all the explanation you need. God Sinner, thank you for donating again. Okay, I might be an anomaly as I keep finding loot pinatas in the form of agents of many different orgs. P.S. I do not... Do I need to turn in the guns and their last wills? So, I hope you're not doing a whole bunch of murder. That would not be a good thing for interrelations between the groups of interest. Be careful there. Eli Thomas, thank you for donating again. Also, I found this strange mirror, and now it's talking. And it's now my friend. Yeah, just keep talking to the mirror. Nothing bad will happen to you at all, I'm sure. Scapegoat, thank you for donating again. Is there an SCP base building game? Trying to get funding. Fulfill all containment protocols and keeping them calm would be great fun and good training. So, it is something I have long wanted to make happen, is an SCP base building game. Something that's kind of like Fallout Shelter. I think that would be so much fun. And you could have it on mobile if you did it like that. And you could build up your little city, expand the containment vaults, and draw anomalies that you then need to contain somehow. And certain anomalies could, of course, be like meta and glitch the game in weird ways. I would love something like that to happen. Part of the goal of the Site-42 project is that if I just yap enough, that we get big enough to have like Markiplier and MatPat money, we can help fund SCP filmmakers and game makers to make these things that we want to happen. Because someone's got to do it, and if no one else is going to spearhead it, I'm going to spearhead it. Don't know yet. Hello, Dr. Sherman. What's your opinion on the Chinese branch, if you've heard of that? So, the international branches of SCP come up with really good material. I've read some translated SCPs around and enjoyed them. Also, I've had my SCPs translated into the other languages. That's very cool as well. So yeah, I think it's cool that there are SCPs in other languages. They have their whole different groups of interests they interact with as well. And so it's very interesting to diversify from which language you're covering the wiki. O51 the Founder, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself some tuna sashimi dipped in whipped cream on your way past the commissary. That'll cure your hangover right up. Good evening again, Dr. Sherman. Good evening again. Dive in just like the back rooms? Well, dive in as in reading about them, not like going into them, because that would be bad. You would get trapped there. It's not good. How many gnomes do you guys got? Interesting, Tato. I, too, am curious about our gnome containment procedures. Let me close some of these millions of tags I have open. Tabs, not tags. SCP Gnome. So 1054 is a ceramic garden gnome. 5556 is a group of humanoids resembling garden gnomes. 4907 is 3 ceramic lawn gnomes. 7341 is a small male humanoid resembling a gnome. And 4650 is a garden gnome. So, yeah, we got gnomes all over the place, man. Gnomes aplenty. Let's see what that is. God Sinner, thank you for donating again. Could you help me find a story? If I was a cyborg girl, it was a cyborg girl, if I remember right, but it was us protecting her from the world, hoping to find more like it. That's a cyborg girl. There's a lot of robotic girls, but I don't remember protecting her. I don't normally have us protect anomalies from the world. We're normally protecting the world from anomalies. 191 is titled Cyborg Girl, so that's a starting point, I think. Maybe 191 is what you're talking about. Golden Vortex, thank you for donating again. Dr. Sermon. I'm not a sermon. I am a Sherman. But you're recognizing the body, so I can tell that your cognition is faulty. Medical is on its way to save you. The Shadow Ninja, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab a rice ball, but it's filled with chocolate sauce on your way past the commissary. Scrolling through the chat. Are you a Sherman tank? No, Doom Guy, I am just a Sherman. Dark Red. How did, if at all, did you progress to the site director within the Foundation? Simply just repeated good works at the Foundation. Not dying is a big one. Rios Panda. You mean a Kelly donut? Well, I did mean a jelly donut, but a Kelly donut's also pretty funny. Why every time I make a comment, it gets buried immediately? There are 330 people in the chat right now. There's only so much, even with slow mode on, there's just a lot of people chatting right now. So I understand that we're a good crowd. So you just got to do your best. I'm looking at the chat in between donations. So I'm doing my best to see everybody I can see. Cyrus, welcome to the chat. What if the SCP Foundation contained Mewtwo? What would their SCP number be? So, first of all, we can't contain things from other fandoms because we can't steal them and release them Creative Commons. SCP numbers aren't assigned in any particularly special way. SCP numbers are just picked in order of the SCP being contained. So, in that way, it's just whenever we would contain an anomaly, that's when it gets numbered. Amber, thank you as always for being a member and being in the chat. And today is fair to middling as compared to yesterday. We are dealing with the consequences of yesterday's partying. Amy, why are you wearing glasses? Because it's too bright in here. It's far too bright. But, you know, I've had my particular hangover cure, and we are on our way to sanity. As a site director, have you ever talked to any of the 05? Yes, Gaslit Whispers. I have, in fact, communicated with the 05, but they don't let you see them. They make you talk on a radio or a monitor, but it's like a black screen with an overlay of a mystery person. You don't talk to the 05. It's not the way things are done. Not straightforwardly anyway. You can chat with them, but you're going to get your orders, and it's going to be very little back and forth. If you've seen the show Severance, it's a lot like dealing with the board. Dr. Gray, if you ask about the Mothman one more time, I am going to submit you for disciplinary measures. I have it marked here. I see where you are. If I see you say the word Mothman one more time, Dr. Gray, consequences. Any good starter SCP stories? Hold on one second. There was a crime, and there was a punishment. Let the timeout commence. Learn your lesson. Starter SCPs I was asked about. So, there's so many different SCPs and so many different moods. And so, if you like horror, maybe do something like... Let me see if I can find it real quick, because I always forget the number. SCP Coral 835. 835 is a horrifying SCP. So if you want horror, you could start with 835. That's a good starter article. It's not too long, but it is, something. If you want something a little lighthearted, SCP-1370 Pesterbot is a great little starter article. Arjo, thank you for joining us for your first Site42 stream. Welcome to the chat for our office hours. What is your least favorite SCP and why? Thank you, Lucy Gaming, for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself some atomic fireballs in a emulsion of saffron on your way past the commissary. What is my least favorite SCP and why? I think I answered this a little earlier on, but I don't have a least favorite SCP. I just don't think of SCPs in that kind of negative way. I will bounce off articles. In fact, I have downvoted articles in the past because that's part of the site, upvoting and downvoting. But I wouldn't really say I have a least favorite SCP. There was definitely one back in the past that I might have qualified because it was so kind of torture porny and weird that I thought maybe the author had issues they were working through. But that one's gone. So that would have been it, and it's not here anymore. Scapegoat, thank you for donating again. As portals, teleportation, and metamorphosis are my specialties, I would like to submit myself, test containment facilities. I hope to do my part to help. Well, now you're thinking with portals, I think our staff needs that education, so good work. Cyrus, jokes aside, let's not use the pipe bomb word in a chat. That is going to get some FBI for real on our situation, okay? Let's watch it with the jokes on that meter, huh? Caution here, caution. J. Pendragon, could the Foundation find Bigfoot? You should read SCP-1000. I think you'll find something very interesting. Lucy Gaming, thank you for becoming a Site42 member. Welcome to staff. Yeah, it's very weird. My chat here is basically see-through, faded for some reason. It's very hard to read. This is why I'm looking over to the side, by the way. I have a second screen that I'm using to read you guys and actually see, because it's being particularly rude right now for some reason. Smash or pass Peanut? Well, we're not going to smash Peanut because if you destroy an anomaly, we can't study it anymore. So we're not smashing it. And if we're going to pass it, I mean, it's already locked down pretty well at Site 19. I don't want to ship it to another site and have problems with it. So we're not going to pass it either. No smash, no pass. What would happen if SCP-096 saw his own face, Dylan? Nothing. 096 already knows what it looks like, so it would not freak out if it saw itself, because it already knows. It doesn't like it when more people see its face. Is the SCP Foundation a government organization? Great question, Bearchart. The SCP Foundation is not a governmental organization. We are an NGO. We are an independent organization. We do not answer to any government. We have mysterious backers funding us, as well as inventions that we've made and patented and sell secretly through front companies. But we are definitely not a governmental organization. In fact, the UIU, which is the FBI's Unusual Incidents Unit, has direct orders from their higher-ups that if the Foundation and the UIU show up to the same anomaly, that the UIU is supposed to take a step back and let the Foundation handle it, because we have better resources than they do, and we're kind of intimidating. So we are not a governmental organization, for sure. Bearheart. Got it. I'll try to keep that in mind. Sir Sherman, you need to get the backroom's entities. Well, your bestie is a murderer. It's hard because async is blocking us out of containment there. Every time we show up, the async guys are particularly rude. It's not like we want to take a step back like the UIU does. It's just they're very aggressive. So once they mess it up too bad, they'll come begging for us to contain their backrooms and entities. But until then, we got to let them do their thing. They've got dibs. Memory Nightmare. Hey there, Dr. Sherman. How are you doing this amazing day? I'm recovering well so far. I keep seeing SCP EASs on YouTube, which has me more interested in SCP. Have an amazing day. Chat, what is an EAS? I'm not familiar with this terminology you're using there. I'm glad it's making you interested in SCPs. We need our Foundation staff interested in the study of SCP. Scrolling to the bottom of the chat so people can tell me what an EAS is. Emergency Alert System. Oh! You're talking about those people who make like analog horror videos, but now they're putting the SCP verse in there. That's pretty cool, yeah. That's neat. Hopefully they introduce you to some cool SCPs that you can go check out. The more SCP stuff that's being made, the better. Especially if people are putting in the work. High quality SCP things. That's what we want to see in the world. Shark Jumping Walrus. Thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself a chum bucket on your way past the commissary. And thank you for being a member as well. Sheeny. Working on getting async more amiable to our efforts. Difficult task, but let me cook. Well, I know your steeping preferences are hardcore good, so I'm sure your cooking is just as powerful. Good luck. Siren Head is something you might want to take a look at. So Siren Head is an anomaly, but not an SCP, because it's from the Trevor Henderson verse, not the SCP verse. There was a big mix-up in 2020 because someone made a fake SCP Siren Head page, and it tricked a lot of people. So you got to be careful of that. It's not an SCP, but I do have a Siren Head is not... Pardon. Siren Head is not an SCP, but if it were video that you can check out. Tara Gall, thank you for your generous donation to the Site-42 coffers. Do you know where the reality anchors are? The breach that the draconic entity is used is not shutting, and we need it sent to D-class through and found too many XK class entities on the other side. We need to close this breach. Usually there's not that many anomalies of an XK class in one universe, let alone all on one side of a portal. You might be looking at a weird fictional universe that's stressing out because you're perceiving it weirdly. Be careful of that. Either way, whatever opened the door will close it, so start there before resorting to reality anchors. Those are really big and hard to move, so it would just be easier if you could close it another way. Japren Dragon, thank you for donating again. Would seeing a painting of 096 cause it to attack you? Like if an artist with photographic memory saw 096 and made a crude painting of it, would the painting be like a photo of 096? We have tested this, and the rule is artistic representations of 096 do not activate 096. So a crude drawing definitely wouldn't do it. We sent an artist who was very talented down in a submarine way below the surface. That way, after we showed it a picture of 096, it would have time to draw 096 before 096 got it. And we got that picture, and it's safe. So that much is fine. The problem is that, 4 pixels is enough to get you got. So any real representation, that's where you get worried. Cybera the Galvanic Mechamorph. Thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself some axle grease and dip some lug nuts in it when you pass the commissary. Hello, Sherman. I have come to your dimension to ask for aid in containing a virus of reality that aims to erase all. Well, that is our forte. So talk to our receptionist, give them the details of your anomaly, and we will try to corroborate on universe saving. Unless it's not going to bother our universe, then that'll be less likely. But, we usually like to help out where we can. J Pendragon, thank you for donating again. And you're right. I thought Siren Head was an SCP boat with the figurehead of a Greek mythology siren. You are correct about that. Siren Space Head is a boat that is also a siren. I forgot about that for just a second. Siren Head, 1 word, not an SCP. Siren Head, 2 words, an SCP. Or it's the other way around. Siren Head, 1 word is an SCP. Siren Head, 2 words is not an SCP. Is that right? Siren Head versus Siren Head SCP. Yes. If Siren Head is 1 word, it is SCP-5987. But if it is 2 words, it is a Trevor Henderson creation. It's so confusing. Damon Jira, thank you for your first donation to today's stream, as well as being a member. Good evening. Make sure to grab yourself a takoyaki dipped in powdered sugar on your way past the commissary. Good evening, Dr. Sherman. I pray that I am remembered. Oh, of course you are, Demon Jira. With a name like that, as well as being a member, you are right here in this steel trap. And my browser needs to reset. Give me 1 moment. Read the chat from here for a bit. You personally work for Async. Our Meg agents need some help containing these entities over here. Can you politely send some 8 to 10 agents over? From Bill from the Async community. So, first of all, now you want help, Async? Now you want us to come over and play? Okay, I see how it is. Now that you need help. And also, wait. Are you and Meg the same? Or are you different? I thought Meg was an interior group and Async was an exterior group. Are you guys, like, cross-pollinating now? I didn't know about that. I'm going to need to look into that first. You're tripping me out with that. Be cautious. Now let me hit that like button so I don't forget. And then 051 the founder. Thank you for donating again. I'm glad you'll never find SCP-006. Excuse me? Ah, yes. That's that thing that you're bogarting for yourselves. How nice. Oh, we have the Fountain of Youth, and we're not going to share it with the other Foundation members. Yep, that do sound like overseer action to me. Present Mike, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself a roast squirrel on your way past the commissary. Don't forget to toss some mustard on that. Hello, Dr. Sherman. Will there be a video on SCP-049 and SCP-022? Well, I hadn't had any plans for a video on the two of them. 222, the morgue. Ah, that's right. You mentioned that in the past. I don't see a reason to make a video about that scenario. I've got other research to be doing videos on, like the X is not an SCP series, or more Shower Thoughts videos. How many 001 SCPs does the Foundation have contained? Well, Dusttail, right now, if I go to the 001 page on the wiki, I am blessed with a large cognitohazard. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 25 plus 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59. 59 SCP-001 articles, 3 of which are brand new. And so you can see the new 001s by Calibold, Harry Blank and Nico, E.T. Cetera, and Poofy Pooferson. Alex, my guys, we were missing $100,000. What did you use that budget for? Jeff, budget manager Jeff, please. I told you the overseers were cutting our budget. And following that, I told you that Dr. Moon Moon quit, defected, and took 25% of the anomalies that he was studying with him, which means Dr. Moon Moon took 25% of our remaining budget because we get paid by the anomalies we contain and test. So, I know the budget is shy. I have been denied to sell anomalies for profit, which I tried to do. Doom Guy, thank you for subscribing and becoming member of Site 42 staff. I have also tried to make merchandise of the SCPs, but it turns out all of my merch was discontinued in a past life. So, we're still working on it, but we'll be fine. We will be fine. We'll find a way. We always find a way. We will get our budget back. We will get more budget, and we will persevere. How has the world not exploded? Well, I mean, remember, SCP-001s aren't necessarily the biggest or most dangerous. Sometimes they're just the first anomaly we found in that universe. So, in that case, sometimes it's a benign anomaly, but it happens to be the first one that spawned the Foundation, essentially. So, don't worry about that. It's fine. It's fine. We're keeping it fine. Avery the Doodler. Hello, I am very confused about all this. I recently became a new scientist, but I don't have a, quote, doctor name. Don't know how that works, so can you help me out, doctor? Trying to figure it out. So when you get hired at the Foundation, you may have a life before, and in that case, you just take your doctor name over. But sometimes you are brought up in the Foundation proper, and you have to find your name. And so over time, I am sure that a name will speak to you in a manner that makes you accept it. Just wait it out, go along your life, do good work at the Foundation, and when that name is right, ooh, you'll have a name. John Doe, codename Mole Rats. Hey, lad, you ever had an interesting encounter with us mole rats? Also, what were the alarms this morning? I thought it was Jeremy Alberton, but he was locked this morning, right? So, I have had multiple encounters with the mole rats because they are our #1 team for underground anomalies. And last year, when the site basement collapsed and we found an entire Site 42 underneath Site 42, staffed by mole man versions of Site 42 staff, that was a whole kit and caboodle. And we needed the mole rats there to help us negotiate a truce so that the mole men of Site 42 did not overtake us at the above ground Site 42. It was very tough, but I appreciate the mole rats' intervention. Also, Mole Man Dr. Sherman, actually kind of a chill dude. What kind of plans do the Foundation offer? Is there healthcare, dental, life insurance? How good is the pay? So, you work for the best of the best of the best, you get the best of the best of the best. Our health plan, off the charts. Do you know how many anomalies we have for different kinds of healing? That's so easy. And then you get your dental done, you get your eyes checked. It is insane to me, by the way, that in the United States of America, where a lot of our Foundation researchers are based, they barely get medical, let alone dental or vision are separate. What kind of asshole country is that? I don't understand it. We're better than that, thankfully. On top of which, you know, certain medical anomalies are there to help that the public doesn't have access to. Like the gender switching stone, that's part of the Foundation health plan. If you want to trans your gender, we have a stone for that. It's very, very painful, but it's a lot cheaper and quicker than surgeries. So we'll just get that done. There's a lot of benefits that we have that the general American public does not have. So yes, if you can work for the Foundation, you want to work for the Foundation. J. Pendragon, thank you for donating again. How would the Foundation deal with the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse? Would you throw 049 at Pestilence? It'd be really funny for 049 to just look at Pestilence, the Horseman of the Apocalypse, and be like, finally, our time has come. That would be very funny to me. I wonder if anyone's written something like that before. Budget Manager Jeff, yes, I'm glad you understand. We can get out of this tough spot together. We'll work this out. Our battle will be legendary. Exactly, Vale. That's what I imagine there. That would be really funny. I would actually get some popcorn for that. Oh, let me see the answer to that question real quick. Do-do-do, do-do-do, do-do-do-do-do-do, do-do-do-do-do, do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do, do-do-do, do-do-do-do-do, do-do-do-do-do-do. So to answer your question, it was, who was that? All right, I can't find your chat name, sorry, but you asked, what would the gender switching stone do if you are a person who changes gender identities rapidly? So, unfortunately, I guess there are people like that in the world. And if that's the case, I know the gender switching stone specifically works based on the identity you hold when you use it. So if it changes in the future, that is up between you and yourself. The gender switching stone can only do what it can while it's touching you. So that answers that. Over here, check. Oh, Please don't break that. Is Cecil from Invincible a good person to join the Foundation, or does he deserve to be lower than a D class? Honestly, Cecil Stedman is a model Foundation site director. The choices Cecil makes are basically exactly what I would do in any of those situations. You gotta live in the black to protect those who live in the light. Invincible doesn't get it. Invincible is too mushy, and it's causing lots of problems for them. Cecil has it right, and so we trust in Cecil. I would hire him in an instant. Dr. Sherman, who is more powerful, O5 or the Administrator? Well, Law's left hand. Typically, the Administrator is on the Overseer Council, but if that's not the case, then the Administrator is above the Overseers. Sheeny, thank you for your extremely generous donation to help with our site budget complications. We're going to fight it out, but people like you help immensely. My word. Also, Song of Storms is the best Zelda song, hands down. I agree completely with that statement. Also, the Zelda lo-fi albums are wonderful for napping and or working. Great Zelda lo-fi. Dr. Sherman, I was wondering if I could apply for an internship at the Foundation. So, when you get hired at the Foundation, it's typically a we come to you situation. So the best thing you can do is just be the highest level of Foundation of talent in your field that you can, and then we come to you. And so do a good job, and you will be found by the Foundation. That's a promise. Dr. Sherman, can you tell us about not a well-known SCP? Well, I would suggest... first of all, if you want to know a not well-known SCP, easiest way to do that is go to the SCP Wiki and click on the random page button. The random page button will just take you to literally a random page. And the likelihood is you will not know about that SCP. And so I'm going to click random page for you right now and see what I find. Okay, it brought me to SCP-6500. Which I know is a crazy article. No, it brought me to SPC-6500. It brought me to a Shark Punching Center article. And you can become different kinds of shark punchers. I did not know about this. Okay. SPC-6500 is what you should check out. Have fun. Be the shark puncher you've always wanted to punch sharks as. I'm going to have to look into that one later. That's bananas. Rancy Gaming, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself a super mushroom that's been lightly toasted by fire flour on your way past the commissary. Saw you on today's Death Battle cast, Doctor. Yeah, that was crazy. I can't believe they said my name like they knew who I was. I did not know the Death Battle cast knew who I was. But that was entertaining. Maybe we'll chat in the future. Are there lots of feline SCPs, or is it just Josie the half-cat? Well, I can tell you that very easily, because if I go to the tags on any SCP article and click on one, it will bring me to the tag cloud, and I know for a fact the tag cloud has a feline tag, and there are currently 95 anomalies on the SCP database tagged with feline. So that is 95 cat-related anomalies to look at. I like it when you guys give me easy questions to answer. Appreciate that. I am Carr. Thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Have yourself some Christmas cookies dipped in eggnog on your way past the commissary. This plague doc is saying I have the pestilence. How do I go about getting treated for that? Walk away from the plague doctor. Don't let it touch you. And we will get the plague doctor to forget about you eventually. In the meantime, head to medical. They will handle the situation. It's not like there's even a pestilence anyways. How anomalous is MatPat game theory? So, I made a joke video about this in the X is not an SCP series because they were doing a nice charity thing that day and I could write it really quickly and get it out there. But I know that the theorists are this whole hive mind situation, and their whole thing is making games worse by talking about them in weird ways and having crazy ideas. I forget exactly what I said, but it was meant to gently rib and hopefully not insult too severely. But so I think I made them Keter class because it was very difficult to contain the hive mind of the theorist culture. Favorite SCP? I will tell you in about 30 minutes. That is when we're going to reach end of stream today so I can get to work on script writing. Oog! Thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself a crispified rat, you know, cooked thoroughly so it's clean, on your way past the commissary. Dr. Sherman, has a D-Class or guard tried to keep 999 as a pet? That is highly unallowed. And on top of which, 999 is 2 meters by 1 meter. That is a large blob. So it's not like you can just sneak 999 out of its cell. So, no, that's not a problem we have. Which SCP is the best cook in your eyes? I mean, it's got to be 5031 for the best SCP we have in containment, for sure. 5031 is a masterful chef. And then, of course, there's a bunch of anomalous restaurants, but you don't really trust the food from those. So I stick with 5031 as my answer. Feels, hello to you, and thank you for being a member. J. Pendragon, if I remember correctly, you called MatPat's ability ruining your childhood. Oh, that certainly sounds like what I said for sure. I think you're remembering correctly. And thank you for donating again. 5031 is one of your favorites, Chameleon Scythe. 5031 is one of my favorites too, coincidentally. Sebastian, hello. Alex, thank you for being a member, but you're going to try and steal 049? 049 might not consent to that, so good luck. People around me keep turning into dragons. I've requested containment, but we ran out of holding blocks at our own site. Any information who my new roommates will be at Site 42. Unscrupulous treasurer, if you turn people around you into dragons, you're not getting a roommate. Because that roommate will, say it with me now, turn into a dragon. So no. You're getting your own room. Lucky you. But, yes, I hope you don't mind isolation. You're going to be there for a while. Other than the obvious 999, which SCP could I easily befriend? So SCP-2295 is a very friendly little guy. Josie the half-cat is quite friendly. The iPod's very friendly. Jeff is a righteous dude. Love Jeff, 008-J, when he's around, if he's not disappearing someone. 507, the reluctant dimension hopper. Pretty chill dude. 5175 can be chill, if not a little lame, but is friendly enough. Traveler 682, thank you for becoming a level 1 researcher here at Site 42. Thank you for your membership. Welcome to staff. Dr. Sherman, what is the script writing for? I have been inspired by this morning's interaction with Death Battlecast. I'm starting a script. It's going to take a while. It takes time for these things. But I'm going to start writing a revamp of the X is not an SCP, but if it were series. I want to write more in-depth videos for that. And so I want to reset the format, make it a lot meatier. And on top of that, I want my first subject to be the world of Slay the Princess. I want to talk about the princess. I want to talk about the narrator and the Long Quiet, because that is an interesting scenario. On one hand, the narrator acts like the perfect Foundation researcher, containing these anomalies, keeping them from breaking out. Love that. Love the strategy. Love the not giving straight answers to the public or the Long Quiet. Just get the job done. Very good manners for handling a perception-based anomaly. Now, I have to dock points because it's trying to remove death from the universe. And as far as we know it, death is normal. So by removing death, you are doing an anomaly. And I imagine to create the Long Quiet and the Shifting Mound as their lesser than God forms, you would have to use some kind of thaumaturgy to build that construct. And manage to do it, so that's pretty hype. I mean, I might still let it be on staff if it can do that kind of thaumaturgy and help us contain other things. And then the princess, of course, the Shifting Mound and death as a concept. I mean, we have decided before that death needs to be contained. Or at least half the overseers did. That was in SCP-2718, if you can get behind the mimetic filters. Then they decided death was an anomaly. And so if death is an anomaly, then we're 100% on board with what the narrator did. And so in that case, fully on board. So I'm going to have to talk about 2718. I'm going to have to talk about reality bending and perceptual anomalies and thaumaturgy. That is a meaty video that I'm very excited to write. And if you're in this stream, you heard it first. Because I literally had this idea this morning. So now you guys get to hear about that. Seagull, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself some French fries dipped in Thousand Island on your way past the commissary. Do you have fries on you? Don't lie to me. I will call the Goose Gang. Squawks and intimidation. Hey, I just offered you the fries. I didn't even know you were asking for fries. That's just how smart I am. You're welcome, by the way. Oog, your donation is hidden by an error message here. I'm trying to see it. Give me one moment. I've got to refresh my browser. And Oog, there you are. Thank you for donating again. Here's some more money. What are personal thoughts and experiences with SCP-650? Well, thank you for donating, as always. And let me take a look at SCP-650 real quick, because I don't remember that number off the top of my head. Startling statue. Stored in a lockable room. Black statue. Humanoid. Does not possess hands or facial features. If the statue is not being observed, it will relocate itself to a point directly behind whoever is in the containment site and assume a threatening posture. No noise is made during the relocation process. So the precise method of locomotion is as of yet unknown. The relocation point and posture are typically close enough to induce an automatic fight or flight response in the observer once they turn around and see it. Has not actually been aggressive or hostile, just likes to do a heckin' spook once in a while. So, yes, I unfortunately had the great honor of being pranked with 650 when I first joined the Foundation. That was back in the prank era, when we were a lot looser with regulations like that. You might have heard of it as called the LOL Foundation era. And so, yes, that is literally one of the first things they did to me when they brought me on. Very annoying. Trinket Doctor, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself a cup of cheer on your way past the commissary. Opinions on SCP-049 for no suspicious reasons. SCP-049 and I have a long history. You can read about it in the SCP-049 document. It's a long story, but that's where it starts. And then there was the cat-made waifu dimension revenge era. And there's the gender-switching stone thievery era. And now we are in the peace era. The friendship era, I've heard it called, where some people have agreed with some anomalies to have unlimited access to the gender switching stone as long as they stop messing with me, and instead help the mobile task force with their work. And so far, it's working. So far, it's fine. So let's just keep it that way. J Pendragon, thank you for donating again. I might be affected by an anomaly. Every time I hear someone say Thousand Island dressing, I am compelled to respond immediately with, that's a lot of islands. Oh, dang it. Now I'm going to do that. Why would you infect me like this? You could have kept it to yourself. Now me and an entire chat of people are going to respond to the phrase Thousand Island dressing with, that's a lot of islands. You selfish bastard. Jacoby, thank you for becoming a level 1 researcher here at Site 42. Welcome to staff, and we appreciate your membership. Please, Sir Sherman, I've needeth to know, for my armies hath already landed with the Dread Isles. What SCP would be good within an army? I can pay in wealth and weaponry, mainly wealth. So, first of all, if you're already there, you're in trouble because we'd have to get the anomaly to you. But there are a lot of anomalies you want in a fight. You can throw 682 at the army if you can think you can recontain it later. But just tossing it there is sure to cause some chaos. Able, if you can just set Able loose and it doesn't kill your team, well then it'll do a lot of damage there. If you're dealing with spectral anomalies and things that can't be harmed physically, SCP-5175 is able to erase things it cuts from reality, and that will make a very good use for spectral anomalies. Yeah, there's tons of warrior anomalies. Combatant anomalies. Do we have a tag for fighting? Oh god, I made the worst choice in the world. Oh, this is funny. Literally, if you click on the tag SCP, you can see how many SCPs there are on the database. There are currently, still scrolling, still scrolling, still scrolling, between SCPs, SCPs-Js, SCP EXs, and all the different kinds of SCPs, there are currently 9,201 articles tagged SCP on the wiki. 9,201. Jeez Louise. So, what if I look for the word fight? Fight, 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 fight. Fantasy, feature, feline, fitness, food, folklore, 5, fish, first person, fading stars. No fight. Combat. You know what? Let me first do something simpler than this. Let me just go to SCP-076, because we know Abel is like a warrior class anomaly. So if there's a tag for that, he'll have it. It will have it, sorry. Abel, alive, extra-dimensional, hostile, humanoid, inscription, Keter, rewrite, sapient, SCP. I'm going to try hostile. Okay, yeah, that's a lot of that's 443 SCPs that are hostile. So that might include warriors for your cause. But, I mean, I don't even know your group of interests, so I would be worried about lending you any SCPs, to be honest. You got to be a trustworthy source. Sheeny, it do be a lot of islands. That is true. Thank you for donating again. Traveler, thank you for donating again. Dr. Sherman for Overseer. Oh, I mean, if that's what the staff wants, and if that's what the Overseers will allow, I guess I would be a good person to have that kind of power with no detriment. I'm curious what it means by first person. Well, Alicad, that's talking about the writing style of the article. So a first person article is putting you into the story. And looking at the tags for it, geez Louise, there are 330 stories, articles, tales here that are written in first person. And unfortunately, for all of us, one of those is called Yule Time for the Yule Man. And so it sounds like you're getting Yule Manned in that story. Bad luck. What are your takes on the Japanese branch, Dr. Sherman? Well, as I said earlier with the Chinese branch, I enjoy that we have other language branches bringing different perspectives to the SCP universe. And I know Japan for a fact has some very interesting groups of interest separate from ours. And so that's some fun stuff. Best N, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself some gaseous water on your way past the commissary. Is there a space SCP? Ninja VR, you're going to have to be a lot more specific, because SCPs, when it comes to space, are all over the place. Sphere, species, spatial, space opera. Just the tag space opera has 35 stories. And if I go to, I'm sure, QRS, what is the term for space anomalies? It's not atmospheric. SCP Spaceman. Let's start there, because the Spaceman is in space. Therefore, extraterrestrial, of course. Extraterrestrial, and that is a list of 415 different pages on the database. James, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself a giant peach on your way past the commissary. We recently found out in a tale 096 was the meteor that killed the dinosaurs. Do you know that happened? Excuse me? 096 was the meteor that killed the dinosaurs. No, I did not know that. Where does it say that on the database? SCP-096 Dinosaur. Every Dinosaurs versus SCP-096. battle simulator. Interesting. I don't see this story at the top of my database search results, so if you can give me more details, I'd love to know what you're talking about there. Lucy Gaming, thank you for donating again. Why do people dislike D-Class? Well, D-Class are all, in some canons, they're all death row inmates. Now, everybody knows that there are more death row inmates than there are D-Class, or there are less death row inmates in the world than we have D-Class. So we also, in some universes, assumedly clone them or just pick up homeless people off the street because we're not good guys. We are dying in the dark. We do bad things to do good things. That's kind of a rule. James, you responded again. You said that it was called the Extinction. Well, that certainly is an appropriate name for such an anomaly. I see Extinction Event. That is from December 2024. I don't see any mention of 096 in that story. Sorry, I just don't see what you're talking about there. I checked the name. Monkey Business, thank you for what I think is your first donation to today's stream. Grab yourself a frozen banana and dip it in some hot sauce on your way past the commissary. How many SCPs do you hypothesize it would take to eliminate 682? Well, if you look at the termination log, you'll notice how many it hasn't taken to defeat SCP-682 because it adapts to everything. So, by this point, could be all of them. I don't know, man. We're trying. Seagull, thank you for donating again. Doctor, help. I may have stolen an MTF security card to get to the chow room for fries, but now the whole mobile task force is after me and they are sending drones. You could have just gone to the commissary. Why did you take the key card? Because it wasn't to get to the commissary. You know better. You're up to something, and I hope they beat it out of you. Politely. Rumari Ghost, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself some chili flakes on your vanilla ice cream at the commissary. Rumari Ghost says, live again, Busybody Sherman. You know it. I'm here for you guys on the Site-42 staff to learn more about the Foundation. You guys have SCP questions? I have SCP answers. Plus, if I teach you guys to use the database better through this process, then you guys will only know more about the Foundation and have better SCP community questions in the future, meaning we both get stronger by having these office hours. That's what teamwork's all about. Researcher to researcher. What does that say? What does that say? It says yes from Jacoby. Thank you. Gabriel, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself a jug of apple juice that has been spiked with red wine on your way past the commissary. Hey Doc, Squad 715 reporting in. No paranormal class cases here in Virginia. How are the other crew members in the Mobile Task Force Mu-13 crew? And any new cases to look into? Now let me pull up Mu-13 on the database and see how their status is. SCP, MTF, Mu-13. Boom. So what are the Ghostbusters up to right now? Where is their list? The Ghostbusters are currently working on containment of SCP-6501. And it looks like they're having some problems. So perhaps you should go help them out. 6501 is located in Redwood Public Cemetery in Alabama, USA. So head to that location and see if they're okay. We are in the last 14 minutes of stream, everybody. So any likes or questions you have, this is your close to last opportunity. Refreshing the chat now. We do not fraternize with the SCPs. You're darn right, Alex. Dark Red, what is a good place to start for the Broken Masquerade? I'm interested in learning more about the concept. Also, love the details you put in the commissary lines earlier in this stream. Listen, part of my job as the site director is to help you guys recover from the hangovers that I'm recovering from. If we didn't have such a banging party yesterday, we all wouldn't have been miserable this morning. But I think I'm feeling better, and I think you guys are feeling better now too. So I'm glad all of my hangover cures were completely 100% functional and not disgusting. You're welcome. And for the Broken Masquerade, SCP, I would obviously start on the Broken Masquerade hub because you can get an eyeful of whatever different stories are in there. So head to the Broken Masquerade hub. It opens with an interview between Dr. Clef and Oprah, if you're interested in that. And there's a bunch of different stories and serials. Not serials. Series. When it's a series of stories. Is it just called a series? If you write a series, it must be a series. Yeah, there's a bunch of different stories and series in the Broken Masquerade universe, and you can see them there. Where are we? Rumari Ghost, thank you for donating again, and rather generously this time. Much appreciated. I found a new SCP, no number, working on research for it. Updates will come along through time. So far, it's due to somehow gaining the lizard's DNA and the fox lady's DNA and trying to mix them. Don't. Why would you? You didn't do that, right? Someone else did it and you stopped them and are now dealing with the consequences. I choose to believe that you wouldn't do something so foolhardy. Just lock it down. Lock it down. Gilded Data, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself some flaming hot Cheetos dipped in peanut butter on your way past the commissary. How would the Foundation react if an SCP became a YouTuber or something? It has happened in the past, and we are able to use our artificial intelligence constructs to go through the back ends of Google/Alphabet and cut off their YouTube channels at the source so they can't broadcast. In universes where we're not capable of that, we usually go into the stream with multiple accounts and harass the anomaly into stopping the stream through bullying. I'm dead serious. We actually have an anomaly like that on the database. Let me see if I can find it for you. SCP streamer bully. Oh, of course what I got was a bunch of SCPs that are a bunch of SCP YouTubers. I should have thought of this. Okay, so unfortunately, I don't know how to find that one right now. But it definitely exists. There's an SCP that is streaming, and our job is to insult it enough that it stops streaming. It's a weird situation. Christian, thank you for your first donation to today's stream and for giving the commissary back, apparently. Make sure to grab yourself some delicious red beans and rice on your way past the commissary. You borrowed the commissary, that's what you said. They're trying to claim that the pants are anomalous, and I want them back. Well, we're going to put them in a box and study them, so tough. Traveler, thank you for donating again. I just received my Mobile Task Force Alpha-9 special permit card. Well, good for you. I guess you got a promotion. Take good care of it. Oog, thank you for donating again. What do you do if your Facebook's Facebook to face with 650? I swear this has nothing to do with my earlier donations. So if you're face to face with 650, you're fine, because as long as you're observing it, it doesn't move, just like 173. And even if you turn your back on it, it's just going to spook you. So just be cautious. It's not going to hurt you. 652 is benign. It just is startling. Can you tell me about the SCP that keeps making me lose at Marvel Rivals Ranked? Well, I can tell you that this particular anomaly is known as a skill issue. And unfortunately, it's not anomalous, but you do have to go through the Foundation training regiment of getting good to persevere. Rumari, thank you for donating again. Might need the nine-tailed foxes. She may not be violent, but nine-tailed fox is a pretty big-wig mobile task force to need for a newly born anomaly. I think you should be able to handle this. What is happening here? I see multiple people hopping on this one. Wyatt, we do not fraternize with the anomalies. My staff members in chat are exactly correct. On top of that, you're talking about a computer. Do not stick anything in a computer, please. Otherwise, you will need medical care. Do you have any recommendations for tragic SCPs? Well, Nikki, start with SCP-8980. That one slaps you in the face with sadness. SCP-8980 is a rough read. Believe the content warnings, but it's a good one if you can handle it. 1762 is another tragic SCP. Everyone knows about that. And where is the one where they are married? SCP married couple. Let me pull something up real quick. Come over to here. Blind myself. Go over to here and type in the name. It doesn't search descriptions anymore. It only searches titles. That's so annoying. Okay, but I can go to the playlists, and the playlists will have more playlists. More playlists. Guests. That's only 28 articles. Okay, go to the bottom. Envelope logistics. That's not an SCP story. How did that get there? Comical. Holding envelope logistics. SCP-000. Fallen Star. While Librarian Miss Bizquids. The price of a word. Counterexample. Ethics Committee orientation. There will be a reckoning. My gift to you, O love. The Ellington family. Metamorphic Eldritch entity. Okay, it's not here. Frustrating. Okay, what is it called? Drat. SCP. They're a married couple and their relationship becomes anomalous. Anomalous relationship. SCP-3080. That is my third tragic SCP for you. 8980, 1762, and 3080. The Power of Love. There you go. Tragic anomalies right up your way. Nailed it. Jonathan Polo the Marco, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself a Coney Island style hot dog on your way past the commissary. How would the Foundation deal with someone who knows that the SCP universe is fictional and a form of entertainment? Oh, we already know that. That is, oh, dang it, Traveler 682. You brought home some Thousand Island dressing. That is so many islands. Anyways, yes, what you're talking about is the field of pataphysics. In the pataphysics department, we understand that the Foundation universe is a fiction written by writers on a higher narrative level than us. And then we create lower level fictional entities underneath our narrative level. And so that is a well-known fact to us. And how we deal with it is a multiple of ways. We can manipulate the narrative to influence the authors so that we are able to make sure they don't destroy the universe on us. Dihydrogen monoxide, thank you for becoming an overseer here at Site 42. We appreciate your membership, and we hope you wash away the anomalous chaos of our jobs. Alex, approved. You can bring Mary some hot chocolate. Santi Analysis, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself some saltwater taffy on your way past the commissary. Where can you get one of those lab coats? Look sick. So, when you want an SCP lab coat, right now I'm working on merch ideas for an official lab coat that we can use ourselves to help boost Site 42. But until we do, it is honestly cheaper and quicker to go to a medical supply store and buy a real lab coat. Real lab coats are actually pretty cheap because doctors go through them a lot. And so you get one for like 20, 30 bucks maybe. And then you get an SCP patch from someone like Toad King Studios, one of our favorite SCP YouTube and Etsy people. And you can iron on the patch and have yourself a really goated looking lab coat quick as a nothing. All right, and we have made it to the end of stream, everybody. It is time for me to lay down the grand finale. So first and foremost, I got to tell you my favorite SCPs like we do at the end of every SCP Site 42 stream. Now, of course, my favorite SCPs are not the ones I wrote. That would be cheating. And so I'm not going to say my SCPs, but you can check out my SCPs on the SCP Wiki on my SCP author page. It is in the support link in the description of every video, so you can go check out my SCPs at your whim. And while you're passing it on the support link, why don't you become a patron or a YouTube channel member? Help us make more content and better content. The team would greatly appreciate it. All right, I got hit with 2 more donations, and I will answer those real quick. Gabriel, thank you for donating again. As far as I found out, with 9501, its a level of hazard level should be at 3 due to its rage. From time when coworkers, me had his parents, they were fired, case was shut down. Interesting that you're in the 9500s on your database, because our database doesn't go that high. So your universe is more anomalous than ours is even, so keep track of it. Caleb, thank you for donating again. I'm your biggest fan. Can you please do a collab with me? Plus, I really want to work with you as a content creator. I would need you to send something to my Site 42 business email and chat it out, because that's the kind of thing I can do. We just got to make sure the project works. I got so much going on with my own work right now, so it's just hard to reach out a lot. But hey, shoot me a line. Maybe you get lucky. Dihydrogen monoxide, thank you for donating again. SCP-096 for Mir, who would win? No one, because 096 already knows what it looks like, so it wouldn't have a problem with itself. So that wouldn't do anything. All right, back to where I was. So my favorite SCPs, in no particular order, are 3999, 3043, 008-J, Spooky-J, 5031, 5175, 5320, and, with a big content warning, 8980. One more time through, 3999, 3043, 008-J, Spooky-J, 5031, 5175, 5320, and 8980 with a content warning on that last one. So with that, I hope you've enjoyed today's hangover stream. I'm certainly feeling a lot better, and I bet with all of your interesting hangover cures, you're feeling better too. And so go get your work done for the Foundation today. Rumari, thanks for one last donation. Could I get help within you making my SCP? Unfortunately, I do not have a lot of time to crit SCPs these days because I am constantly working on the database work I'm doing. But maybe in the future when things somehow slow down, maybe. All right, with that, I will see you guys in the next stream. Be safe, be well, and as always, secure, contain, protect. Fare thee well. I don't want to set the world on fire. I just want to start a flame in your heart. In my heart I have but one desire, and that one is you. No other will do. I've lost all ambition for worldly acclaim. I just want to be the one you love. And with your admission that you feel the same, I'll have reached the goal I'm dreaming of. Believe me, I don't want to set the world on fire. I just want to start a flame in your heart.